Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. For and here's the thing, I've been forgetting to talk about this. So, you know, maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, Sean left, and then it was official that he was like stepping down or leaving the show. And I was like, you know what? Listen, they've been wasting him for a hot minute, so it's fine. But then every now and then they kept putting his face, in the intro. And I'm like, bro, he's gone. Why are you still sitting there using his image for? I don't understand that. And today he's back, and I'm like, what? So let me get this straight. You bring this man all the way back on the show so he can get rejected by Alexis. Because essentially that's literally what happened. I mean, yeah, he came in there, he was sitting there talking about Harmony and about the shady people that, she's associated with, and Alexis like, yeah, I know. Um, which is amazing because you just got out of jail for a whole bunch of stuff that you did, for something that you did, and you would sit there and think, hmm, I don't want to go back there. So maybe I shouldn't be hanging out with someone who hangs out with shady characters and do a lot of shady things. Okay, sure. Um, but yeah, after that, they talk about, he pretty much asked the question, do we have a shot? Do you have a shot with you, or whatever? And she straight up says no. And she gives a bunch of lists of excuses, and one of them being Neil. And I was like, sweetheart, that was like damn near 2 years ago. I felt like it was about 2 years ago. You using Neil as an excuse? Like, really? That's okay. Anyway, she says no, and that pretty much ends that. The hug, and I would sit there and say it's probably Sean's last time on the show, but I had said that before, so I guess we'll just wait and see. So Jordan is once again being annoyed by that annoying jackass. Um, talking about the sex tape and everything like that. Just asking a whole bunch of questions. Even after Jordan was like, "Listen, talk to my people, talk to my liaison." Like you have questions, talk to them. But the annoying jackass that he is just no 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 no. Now Michael is talking to Willow about going to Paris. Like, yo, let's leave now. And of course, the question is who's going to get Wiley. So he bounced around a couple ideas. Carly's kind of busy with stuff. Nina is clearly not an option. Um, Monica is dealing with Jason's memorial or funeral, I guess memorial, I guess. Um, so Willow's like, why don't we get Harmony a try? Why don't we do that? I'm just thinking in my head, because a lot of people are like, maybe they should give her a second chance, this, that, and the third, and I just keep sitting there thinking, isn't Harmony the same one that practically offered up her daughter to Shiloh to do God knows what? I mean, I know that's not technically her biological daughter, but in her heart, that's her daughter. And I get it. She was in a cult thing, she was influenced, this, that, and the third. But, like, I mean, is that something that really, you could just really just walk away from and just kind of be like, oh, that was in the past, that was a long time ago? Because I can't do that. Um, but Willow's like, listen, she's been trying and this, that, and the third, and meanwhile, she's not there plotting with Nina because why not? Um, well, to be fair, Nina is trying to get her on her side. Anyway, you talk about that, and you know, Mike was like, listen, how about we just sit there and discuss this on the plane ride, or on the the ride to the airport. So they're about to leave, and of course, that I don't want to sit there and say journalist. Journalist is stand for something like it's just stand for integrity and all that good stuff. And this guy has none of that. But I guess what's his name? Smollett? I think that's his name. Anyway, he stops Michael and he starts asking a bunch of questions about the sex tape. Thing is, Michael didn't know about that, and I'm surprised that, Carly didn't sit there and say anything. Now, I get it, it's a private matter, with Jocelyn and stuff like that, but my whole thing is like, Michael's gonna find out sooner or later. It's better that it comes from one of them or Carly than it does from the internet or, that guy. So, he starts talking. He starts like bringing it up a little bit, and Michael is just getting impatient because at this point he's like, "Yo, listen, is she okay? Is she in the hospital? What's going on?" And so, the guy talks about the sex tape being leaked and everything like that to the internet, and it went viral, this, that, and the third. Now I know I'm not the only person that you know, blood boiled when he was sitting there talking about, oh, well, maybe she leaked it herself to, kind of rate her performance. And I was like, what in the hell? But then I kind of remember something. Unfortunately, there are people like that in real life. Like, serious people like that in real life. And I don't want to sit there and mention this creator because, well, it really doesn't matter at this point because he doesn't have a YouTube channel anymore. But his name is Minnesota Guardian. Think about like the worst annoying person just in your face, just asking you a bunch of questions, and then while you're sitting there trying to, tell him to leave or like get away from him or whatever, he starts talking about, oh, it's my right to sit there and film this, that, and the third. Like that type of aggressive nature, that annoyingness, and that's pretty much who this guy is. So he says that, and Michael, of course, hits him. I'm like, this is the best part of this episode. I mean, he's obviously going to be arrested. I mean, come on, let's be honest. He just punched this guy in front of a cop. Now, I'm not going to lie. His privilege definitely did show when, you know, um, Willow's like, all right, come on, let's just get out of here. Let's just go to the airport. So he starts walking, and Jordan's like, yo, where do you think you're going? Yeah, because Jordan walks up, like, yo, that was a big mistake. And Willow's like, all right, well, let's go. And he starts walking like, so you're just gonna walk past her and act like she's not gonna do anything? Did you? It's just like, are you just that not self aware or just that privileged that you think you could just punch somebody in front of a cop and it's like, all right, well, I'm about to go to Paris. I deal with this crap when I get back. And so of course she arrests him. And Willow's like, no, don't do it. He was trying to defend his sister, this, that, and the third. So she goes, I guess, in the break room or one of the rooms, and she's about to call Carly, but she starts breathing really heavy. And when Carly answers the phone, of course, she's on the floor. So I have no idea what's going on with that, but so that's something. I'm gonna be honest, I could have totally did it without Dante and Sam. Here's the thing about these two. There's times when they're useful, when they're actually doing something with other cast members or whatever. Then there's times where it's like I felt like they just came there to just collect a check. They didn't really do too much of anything, if you really think about it. I mean, in the beginning, they were both whining about how Carly messed up the plan, and then they kind of realized that, well, it went sideways, and, we almost had them. I think that's one of them said, like, oh, we were getting so close. I'm just thinking in my head, were you really getting close? I mean, let's think about this from yesterday's episode. Victor asked Drew about a certain mission that was inside of his head, some memory, whatever. But Drew doesn't have access to those memories. So what would have wound up happening if Victor would have asked that question and, Drew doesn't know? What would have happened then? So everyone's sitting there blaming Carter like, oh, you messed up this, that, and the third. I can't believe you showed up. It was like, what was going to be the backup plan if he didn't know. I mean, we all know that, Victor was like, yo, listen, if the conditioning doesn't work, then we'll just take him out. The, the condition clearly didn't work because he doesn't know. So, yeah. So, to be honest, in a lot of ways, when I sit there and look at it, and maybe I'm just not really thinking about it too much, but maybe Carly kind of did them a favor. Anyway, Dante talks about how, oh, I'm sorry, I could have got Spinelli and he could have did this, that, and the third. I'm like, what are you talking about? Whatever transmission problem that y'all had, y'all fixed it when you moved the van. So I don't understand what Sam was you're talking about, when Sam was like, listen, we could sit there and try to get, try another way as far as using Spinelli. And Dante was like, I don't really know. And that's when she was like, oh, it's your ego. I'm like, what was Spinelli going to do in that situation? Anyway, don't really do too much of anything except for kiss and then talk about how they're gonna go back to, someone's place and, have sex. So after Nina was meant to talking to Phyllis, and I'm not gonna lie, when I saw her talking to Phyllis, I was like, so are you gonna sit there and get more advice from Phyllis that you're just not gonna listen to? No? Okay, cool. That didn't happen because apparently Phyllis had to sit there and meet someone, which turned out to be um Harmony. I think her name is the hell was her name? Lorraine Miller. Anyway, Nina was meant to say that she had a meeting, and it turned out that it was, I don't know if we're even calling her Temp Harmony at this point. Because usually they'll sit there and say, oh, today's role will be played by so and so, but this time they didn't even do it. I mean, granted, for the new people, they had to sit there and say, oh, Harmony, just to get people caught up if they didn't know who she was. So long story short, she wants to sit there and team up with Harmony. She wants to get Harmony to sit there and talk to Willow, and Nina to sit there and talk to Sunny, because they were like, listen, we can sit there and try to team up. We can do go the legal route. We might win, but a lengthy battle is not going to be best for Wiley. So the best thing we could sit there and do is call it divide and conquer, pretty much. And Harmony goes for it. Harmony realizes that she only gets to see um, Wiley whenever it's convenient. The bare minimum. I'm gonna be honest. You teaming up with Nina is gonna go from the bare minimum to damn near non-existent. So okay, cool. So after that, Phyllis walks up and she's like, "Oh, Lorraine Miller. I haven't seen you in ages or whatever." Because apparently they knew each other. So let's talk about Esme and Spencer. Because I gotta sit there and say this was another surprisingly good part in this episode. Pretty much because this girl definitely knows how to manipulate Spencer. You know, they argue for a little bit. Because Spencer's like, did you do it? Because I don't think that Trina did it. And then of course, um, Esme plays the victim. She plays the victim for a while, and then she belittles him. Oh, you don't really have a lot of friends. Your friends don't really like you. It's only because it's your last name, this, that, and the third. The idea is to sit there and, belittle him and then kind of remind him, oh, well, I was always there for you, this, that, and the third. So you just, you watch this whole thing play out and you're just like, damn, for an 18, 19-year-old girl, I would sit there and say you are kind of good at this, manipulating people, which is actually not a really good trait when you really think about it. But she is sitting there playing him like a fiddle. Um, and granted, she doesn't really. Here's the thing: she doesn't really have to sit there and try that hard when it comes to us being jealous about Trina, because Spencer has been doing this whole this mixed signal thing with Trina. In the book, it was talking about our passion for something. It was like, bro, listen, I get it. She's not really a real girlfriend, But can you imagine if your real girlfriend saw a gift that was, you know, given to another girl, and she sees that, and she sees somewhere in there it says our passion for something. The thing is, she's just gonna hone on the word passion, and that's gonna be a wrap. I get it. He's like 18 or 19 years old. He's clearly gonna make a lot of mistakes. I'm like, damn, bro, what are you doing? So anyway, she's not there, manipulating him, and then she's all like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to be with you anymore, and maybe you're not the man I thought you were going to be, and this, that, and the third. And of course, Spencer is like, did you do it? Look me in the eyes. And I had a feeling like once she would have looked him in the eyes, she would have been like, I don't know how well that actually works. I'm going to be honest. I never actually asked somebody to look me in the eyes. Um, I don't know if that's a real clear indicator, but anyway, she's just like, well, yada, 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 and then she walks off. The idea is to sit there and get him to miss her and be like, oh, well, maybe I was wrong. And then, of course, when everyone starts to blame Trainer because, the phone is in Trainer's, bag, then, Esme's going to have even a greater control over Spencer, which I cannot believe that I actually forgot that detail yesterday. And this wasn't like it was a small detail. This was like there was a couple of people in the comment section was like, yeah, Esme, put the burner phone or whatever in Trina's bag. So, then she called, the tip line and, now she's gonna sit there and get blamed for it. Yes, I was meant to think I was like, man, I'm not gonna lie, I actually really enjoyed that review. I think I actually did a pretty good job. I think I did. And I'm sitting there reading comments like that, and I'm like, what the? So yeah, sorry I forgot that detail yesterday because it wasn't actually a small detail. But anyway, like I said, I did enjoy that scene. And then there's the Carly and Drew scene, and I don't know. Them talking about Jason. Here's the thing, I get it. They have to talk about Jason because Jason was Carly's best friend. You know, Jason meant the world, to Carly. So I get why they have to sit there and talk about him. It's unfortunate because, well, we all know why Jason isn't on the show, and that's the part that really sucks. That's the part that really sucks. And when I think about it, the more I sit there and think about it, the more it's like, man, I remember when I first used to start watching these shows, and I didn't really have the internet or anything like that. And so when people would leave for various reasons, I didn't really know why, and it was like, oh, okay, well, they're gone and yada, 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 yada. And now when it's like, peeling behind the curtains, like, the real reason why. So it's like, it doesn't sit right with you, or you're just like, you're glad that they're gone. I'll give you an example. So, I don't remember this actress' name. I remember that she was in two things that I liked. She was in this show called Sliders, and she was in another show. Well, she was in another movie. We'll just sit there and say she did some work that I was very fond of, and we'll just leave it at that. But the point is, I think she was supposed to be playing Carly's friend. Um. Anyway, they wound up like killing her off, and I think she was involved with Sunny or whatever. I can't remember her name. I'm like, I am not gonna sit there and look like a fool, especially when I have the damn internet. I think her name is Karen Samantha something. I can never pronounce her last name. Anyway, my point is, she wound up getting let go, and she wound up suing GH or ABC because she got pregnant. and she was like they should have, she was like she shouldn't have been fired because she got pregnant or whatever. Anyway, it was this whole big thing, and I didn't find out until years later. And I felt like I probably would have had a different opinion on it if I would have knew why, but because I didn't know why, and it was, not naive or whatever, but the point is I didn't know why. So I didn't really have an opinion on it. I just kind of watched it. It's like when characters left, it was like, okay, whatever. Where the hell am I actually going with this damn story? Oh yeah, Drew. Jason. Anyway, they talk about Jason. They talk about Drew and his conditioning and how only a certain amount of people know, which was Britt, Jason, Peter, which is dead, and I think that's about it. I don't think anyone else knows. Talk about Nina for a little bit and Sunny and why she had to sit there and leave him, and I don't know. I don't know where they're actually gonna go with this storyline with them. You know, as you know, that at some point I feel like either Drew's gonna want to being with Britt or Drew's gonna want to being with Carly. And I feel like the fans would probably want Drew to be with Britt. They're supposed to be twins, so if you look at it, I feel like no one really wins. I mean, it's not like Carly, but Carly could be very self-centered, make stuff about her, and it'll be kind of messed up for Drew. But at the same time, Drew going out with Britt be like, oh well, I can't be with Jason, so I have to be with his twin brother. Like a consolation prize. The other one of those pairings is gonna be scrutinized. I feel like that's about it. Uh this was fine. Um and honestly tell you the truth, not only was okay, I said she did another movie that I'm not gonna sit there and say. I also can't remember the name of the damn movie. Um Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I guess we'll wind up meeting the new trainer on Monday. And oof, it's gonna be fun in the comment section. Not my comment section, but if you go watch any clip of her, on YouTube or whatever, or on Instagram, people are just gonna be going back and forth. And I would sit there and say, everyone has a right to their opinion, but I'll be a hypocrite because people had comments, opinions that I didn't like. Well, let's just sit there and say I acted very juvenile. Anyway, that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.